USC just had their spring game on Saturday, and it's safe to say Caleb Williams didn't disappoint in his USC debut. Stay tuned.
Whose world is this?
The world is yours. The world is yours.
It's mine. Whose world?
In two 15-minute halves where Caleb Williams switched off drives with backup Miller Moss, Williams completed 10 of 12 passes for 98 yards, and he also threw 2 touchdowns. And I also want to mention that he had 2 long runs. So yes, he's still that dual threat quarterback that he was at Oklahoma. Now, Williams said with a chuckle when asked about his first USC appearance, "I don't really get nervous. It was awesome. We're not even close to what we're going to be." Now, transfers have been a big part of the story since Coach Lincoln Riley arrived, and they were a big feature of the spring showcase. Former Oregon running back Travis Dye looks to have a firm handle on a lead back position. And Washington transfer Terrell Bynum led all receivers with 34 receiving yards, which isn't a lot, but hey, it was the spring game. Williams, for his part, went 9 for 9 for 90 yards and 2 touchdowns during the first 2 drives as a Trojan. That's crazy and pretty efficient if you ask me. He finished both drives by showcasing his connection with fellow Oklahoma transfer Mario Williams, finding him twice in the end zone. But in my opinion, his best pass of the day was this downfield pass to Terrell Bynum. This showcases a great skill set that Caleb Williams possessed. I mean, Williams made a difficult throw off the back foot against pressure, and he made it look very easy. He dropped the ball right in the bucket. Now, Bynum caught the ball perfectly in stride. Now, Caleb Williams has a natural feel for the game, which can't be taught. But make no mistake, Coach Lincoln Riley is teaching him a lot of things that are taking his skill to that next level. This is why, even though USC's defense will probably give up a good amount of points a couple times this season, that USC will still be in position to win those games, because the firepower they have in that receiving room and having Caleb Williams and those 2 transfer running backs and the 5-star running back coming in, that offense will produce a couple of 40-point games, maybe a couple 50-point games, and outscore the other team's offense and pick up the slack for their own defensive team. But in my opinion, Williams wasn't the only quarterback to play well. After a slow start and playing behind the second string line, Miller Moss also picked it up late in the game. The biggest highlight was a 48-yard touchdown pass to Kyle Ford. And Moss finished with 169 passing yards after completing 15 of his 20 attempts. That's pretty good for a second string. And on the defense side of the ball, defensive lineman Thule was a standout, totaling 2 tackles for loss and routinely getting in the backfield. Auburn transfer Romello Height also had a sack, and as the game went along, the USC defense was able to get pressure on Williams. Alabama transfer Shane Lee, who has already assumed a leadership role in the defense, said he was pleased with the foundation the Trojans have built on that side of the ball in the spring. So overall, it was a good spring game. Everybody expected Caleb Williams to play good, and he did. His first 2 drives, he went 9 for 9. Had 2 touchdown passes to his fellow Oklahoma transfer, Mario Williams. Those 2 are going to light up, I repeat, light up this conference this upcoming year. Now for the expectations for USC football. I'll start by saying that Riley was precisely the kind of hire USC needed to make. And it's good for the program and Pac-12 as a whole. Riley will have the program humming and competing for playoff berths sooner rather than later. However, I will slow down the crazy expectations a bit for 2022. I mean, USC had a lot of problems within the program for over 10 years. That won't be wiped away by Riley and the transfer portal, unfortunately. Even with Caleb Williams in uniform, this is still a team with plenty of holes to fill, particularly on both lines and defensive side of the ball as a whole. Now, USC will compete for a Pac-12 South title with Utah and UCLA and potentially win the division and maybe even the conference. But it's not going to do so without having a few scars along the way. Now, I think that Trojan fans should set their sights on a 10-win season as the goal, but be willing to settle for a 9-3 season overall. And those are my thoughts. Comment below, how do you think USC will do this upcoming season? Do you see a 10-win season? Do you see a college football playoff berth? Comment below your thoughts. And while you're at it, also comment below, how do you think Caleb Williams went? I mean, starting off 9 for 9 isn't too bad in my book. But as the game went on, the defense started getting more pressure on him. And, you know, it was a couple struggles here and there. But overall, he played good. But comment below your thoughts on how you think he did. And what are your expectations for Caleb Williams and USC as a whole. And while you're at it, leave a like on this video. And like I always say, if you love college football or college football recruiting, go ahead and subscribe to the channel right now. And comment below what other college football team spring game you want me to go over. But until next time,